Well, good morning and welcome to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Acom. We are broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Market Street in Corning. I'm so glad that you've joined us this morning. I ran out of time. I didn't realize it was already 6 a.m. and I'm so glad that you joined us because we have a lot to talk about. We're also going to be joined in a little bit to find out about the Catholic Charities of Steuben and Livingston and their speaker jam coming up on the 18th from 3 to 7 at Pulteney Park in Bath. We're going to find out more about Catholic Charities of Steuben and Livingston and the OASAS programs or OASIS program. So that'll be in the 7 o'clock hour. First, I got this comment after I just missed it on Friday's broadcast. It came in right before the end of the show. This viewer writes in, I left my job in the education arena 13 years ago. Somewhere around 2008 was my turning point, and I noticed subtle but obvious, at least to me, changes that didn't feel right and absolutely see it clearly now. Inclusivity and other forced agendas like anti-bullying sessions were dominating my inbox with suggestions to sign up for these sessions. Suggestions in quote, kind of the mandatory volunteering, right? I felt really insulted to think that we had to be trained when most of us are inclusive and don't go out of our way to make others live uncomfortably. It was like a slap in the face, but I avoided and ignored it until I was confronted. You haven't signed up yet. I asked if it was mandatory, that I was busy doing my job, that I was being paid for, and I was ignored for a while until things got really chilly, if you will, and suddenly I, among 20 others, were offered a volunteer separation of service. I suffered a few more years until it was saving myself and my principles or giving into directives that I now know is a cancer by design taking over campuses everywhere. Thank you for that. And we see that so often. We're going to give you some examples of that in relation to Charlie Kirk. We've got some breaking news on the shooter. We are also going to go through some of the dedications and also, sadly, some of the disgusting vile things that have went viral on social media. But Charlie Kirk suspect Tyler Robinson is not cooperating with investigators, according to Utah Governor Spencer Cox. The governor also confirmed Sunday that the alleged gunman's live-in boyfriend is transgender. Cox, in a series of interviews on Sunday morning talk shows, said that Robinson's romantic partner as well as his family are all cooperating with the FBI's investigation into Kirk's killing. Robinson has not confessed to authorities. He is not cooperating, but all the people around him are cooperating. And I think that's very important, Cox told ABC News this week. He also reiterated that Robinson was deeply indoctrinated in leftist ideology. Authorities arrested him, as you know, after his father convinced him to turn himself in. Cox previously told the Wall Street Journal that Robinson was deeply indoctrinated with leftist ideology and has since teased that more specifics will come out when charges against the shooting suspect drop on Tuesday. So we'll know more tomorrow. That information comes from the people around him, his family members and friends. There were conversations that were discussed specifically about Charlie Kirk. He does come from a conservative family, but his ideology was very different than his family's. I believe, and we're going to talk a little bit more about this line that Cox had, I believe that social media has played a direct role in every single assassination and assassination attempt that we have seen over the last 5-6 years. There is no question in my mind. Cancer probably isn't a strong enough word. What we have done, especially to our kids, it took us a decade to realize how evil these algorithms are. And we're doing everything in Utah, first state in the nation a couple of years ago, to pass comprehensive reforms. The governor also confirmed that Robinson's roommate is transgender, but he was cautious about trying to tie that in as his motive. The roommate was a romantic partner, a male transitioning to female. This partner has been incredibly cooperative and no idea that that was happening. And he's working with investigators right now. So again, not cooperating with law enforcement. His roommate alleged that he hates conservatives and Christians, meaning the alleged assassin. The trans roommate of Turning Point. Oh, let me try this again. Let me reword this because I worded it strangely. This is coming from Fox News. The trans roommate of Charlie Kirk's alleged assassin hates conservatives and Christians, one of his relatives told Fox News. The 22-year-old, who has not been charged and whose name has not yet been released by authorities, was in a romantic relationship with suspect Tyler Robinson, according to relatives. She said he is in the process of transitioning from male to female. The woman, who asked to remain anonymous, told Fox News her relative began to act differently when he turned 18 and said that he developed a hatred for Christians and conservatives. Quote, he hates conservatives and Christians. He hated us. He was not raised that way, but he, over the years, has become really detached and been radicalized. He has obviously gotten progressively worse the last 2 years or so, adding that he's always very angry. I think Tyler got a whole lot worse in the year that they had been dating. They are big video gamers, and obviously they have that group that influences them as well as others. But my gut tells me the roommate did more of the influencing. Everybody in my family wants justice to be served and wants no part in this and wants whoever is involved in whatever way to have to pay for it. Now, we learned that the alleged assassin is under special watch in jail. Utah County Sheriff's spokesperson, Sergeant Raymond Orman, said on Saturday the suspect, Tyler Robinson, is being evaluated in the special housing unit while under special watch so he can be monitored 24/7. Now, following his arrest, Utah Governor, again, Spencer Cox, indicated the suspect will be held accountable. So what we know right now, according to CNN, the suspect, Tyler Robinson, is slated to appear in state court on Tuesday. He is being held without bail at the Utah County Jail on charges including aggravated murder, felony discharge of a firearm, and obstruction of justice. The Utah County Sheriff's Office told CNN on Sunday that Robinson is being held in special housing unit, as I mentioned. We know that Robinson is not cooperating with authorities. Still, investigators have pointed to gaming and dark internet culture as potential factors for the alleged radicalization. Quote, clearly, there was a lot of gaming going on. Friends have confirmed that they were kind of that deep, dark internet, Reddit culture, and those other dark places of the internet where the person was going deep. You saw that on the casings, the memification that is happening in our society today, the governor said. Those messages that were carved in the ammunition include a mix of memes and allusions to video games. They featured a series of arrows representing the controls used to carry out an attack in the video game Helldivers 2, and lyrics of a popular Italian song linked to anti-fascists. Kirk's some other things that we've learned, and we know this. Kirk's killing reverberates through Washington. We're going to talk about that. Democrat Senator Mark Kelly, who, of course, his wife, Representative Gabby Giffords, was shot at an event in 2011, called political violence a pervasive issue in our country and cautioned against placing blame on any one side. Utah Senator John Curtis, a Republican, echoed that point over the weekend, saying radical coming from any direction is not good, it's not healthy, and it should be called out. Speaker Johnson said he's been working to reassure House members about their personal security in the days following Kirk's killing. I've been talking with a lot of them over the last few days about that and trying to calm their nerves to assure that they will make certain that everyone has a level of security that's necessary. Now, President Trump blasted the left and has announced that a major investigation is underway in this assassination. The problem is on the left, it's not on the right, said Trump. Like some people like to say on the right. The problem we have is on the left. And when you look at the agitators, you look at the scum that speak so badly of our country, the American flag burnings all over the place, that's the left, that's not the right. The probe into Kirk's slaughter has expanded to pro-trans online groups and other organizations. I'm not going to go through each organization. I don't want to give them any type of coverage. But Trump's saying there is a major investigation underway. Boy, there is some nasty stuff in all this, isn't there? When Minnesota Democrat Melissa Hortman was assassinated alongside her husband and dog in June, Trump denounced that horrific violence, adding that it wouldn't be tolerated in the U.S. He, however, refused to call the state's governor, Tim Walz, at that time because he's a mess. That was a quote. And it would waste time. We wouldn't celebrate if something happened on our side, and we don't. These are sick people. These are really deranged people. Oh, audio and video is breaking up? How bad? How bad is it? Is it viewable? I don't know what the problem would be. I can try to restart, but that would be quite a lengthy break. How much is it real bad? The audio breaking in and out? Because if it is, I can always kind of restart it real quick and go to that rerun program for just a minute and restart. Let me know. A source familiar with the investigation of the assassination told Fox News Digital that the FBI is investigating leftist groups in Utah to see if they had any connection to the alleged shooter. The source told Fox News Digital that the FBI is investigating the leftist group to see if they knew about the alleged shooter's plans beforehand or provided any assistance to him. The source did not elaborate on which groups are being investigated. Axios first reported the development. Robinson's father turned him into authorities after he recognized his son in the surveillance video. Okay, thank you, everybody. Thank you for saying fine. Good. We're going to keep going then. Authorities said that Robinson is being held, as I mentioned, under special watch. Now, there's going to be, I guess you would call it memorial next Sunday, but there was a vigil in D.C. yesterday. Top Republicans joined grassroots activists in giving a touching tribute to late conservative icon Charlie Kirk during an emotional vigil in a fully packed Kennedy Center Sunday night. Oh, wow. Okay, so right now we've got Fine on My TV. We've got All Good here, Frank. No audio video breaking up here in Tennessee. All good. Okay, thank you. But then I have another person saying, yes, you're breaking up bad. I'm on antenna and all as well. Well, it seems like the numbers are more for it's all okay. So we're just going to stick with it as compared to going to a lengthy restart scenario. But over 85 members of Congress, multiple White House and cabinet officials, activists across the country, students and locals in the nation's capital joined in prayer and celebrating of the Turning Point USA founder and his legacy. Quote, "It's as if a dark shadow was cast over our country and certainly here, even on Capitol Hill, the leaders of the nation have been shaken," said Speaker Johnson. "In spite of that, we remember that our dear friend Charlie would never want us to be overcome by despair. He would want exactly the opposite. I think Charlie Kirk offered more productive content in the free marketplace of ideas than anyone in his generation and arguably in the last 100 years of history. That message and that truth will go more boldly now than it did while he was here." White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt said, "I would not be in this position if not for the heroic efforts of Charlie Kirk, who turned the political tide among young people in this country and helped usher in President Trump's historic victory." Another former mentee of Kirk's, Representative Anna Paulina Luna, recalled she was about to jet off to medical school before getting a call from him that changed her trajectory. Quote, "I was literally preparing to go to medical school, bags packed, and I kid you not, 24 hours prior, I got a call that changed my life. Hey, Anna, it's Charlie Kirk from Turning Point USA, and I'd like to offer you a job as our National Hispanic Outreach Director." Charlie Kirk will go down in history as one of the biggest political minds and activists of our lifetime, she added. His impact places him alongside transformative figures like Dr. Martin Luther King, John F. Kennedy, and Robert Kennedy. Now, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. described Kirk as the architect of his unification with President Trump last year. Kennedy noted that his niece was bringing a Bible to Europe for college because she wanted to be like Charlie Kirk. I had a conversation once with Charlie. We were talking about the danger that we were both challenging, entrenched interests. And he asked if I was scared of dying, and I said, there's a lot worse things than dying. Kennedy added that with Kirk gone, it's our job to win this battle for our country. Tulsi Gabbard said, I had a friend of mine who sent me a text the day after Charlie was killed, really distraught. And she said, what do we do now? I know the answer would be love. Should be love. The answer should be peace. But Charlie tried that, and it didn't work. My response to her was, no, it did work. That's why they killed him. The vigil carried on with very little mention of his assassin. One of the few references to Robinson came from an emotional Carrie Lake, who unsuccessfully ran for governor and senator in Arizona. We can't let this go. The violence has got to stop. Our side isn't perfect, but darn it, this is coming from the other side. How has that 22-year-old become so filled with hate? I'm making a plea to mothers out there. Do not send your children into these indoctrination camps. That received quite a round of applause. Christian recording artist Sean Fuchs led the singing of religious hymns to honor Kirk during the ceremony. At the end of the vigil, attendees waved candles or flashlights on their phones in tribute to him. We know exactly where Charlie is right now, said Speaker Johnson. All right, we're going to take a short break on that note. Keep the comments coming in if you are having trouble. This viewer saying never had any problems with transmission. All right, well, thank you. We're going to keep it going then, unless I hear differently. Again, don't forget, coming up in the 7 o'clock hour, we're going to find out all about Speaker Jam coming up on the 18th at Pulteney Park in Bath. That's a little bit later on in the program. Right now, let's take that break. Stay with us.
What better way to start or end every day than relaxing in your very own Hesselson's hot tub? Massage therapy, relaxation, stress reliever, pain management, soothing muscles, or just spending time with a loved one. Hot water therapy really does make every day better. Hesselson's has been a part of this great community for over 70 years, still being locally owned and operated. So make the drive to Hesselson's and start making your path to a better life today. And after 70 years, it's still fun to poke in the corners at Hesselson's.
When you're on, don't forget to visit our Facebook page at Big Fox News. Catch up on news from the Twin Tiers. Vote on the daily question and hear about local events. All on Facebook.com/Big Fox News.
This is a Sue the Collector consumer alert. Hi, my name is Jared Johnson with SueTheCollector.com. Did you know that repossessions are on the rise in America? If your car, truck, or motorcycle has been repossessed by an agent that broke a lock, assaulted you, or trespassed on your private property, you have rights. Call us for a free case review at 1-877-BAD-REPO. You pay nothing unless we win money for you. Call me now.
It's a brand new 2025 Hyundai Tucson SEL all-wheel drive featuring power liftgate and heated seats. No money down for only $369 a month for 36 months. Make car buying simple. Drive your deal at Simmons Rockwell Hyundai in Big Flats.
Big Fox website is here now. WYDCTV.com. Local and national news that keeps you informed and involved. WYDCTV.com. Today's weather up to date and in your town. WYDCTV.com. Sports news, local events, and health stories that affect you. WYDCTV.com. The Big Fox website. Your news here now. WYDCTV.com.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security and Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Market Street in Corning. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard mourned the assassination of Charlie Kirk yesterday. As she held back tears, Gabbard called the Kirk assassination the definition of terrorism. In the book of Corinthians, Paul said, "Therefore we are always of good courage, and I know that while we are at home in the body, we are absent from the Lord. We are of good courage, I say, and prefer to rather be absent from the body and be home with the Lord." Ultimately, for every one of us, the time that we have in this world is temporary. Our time will come sooner or later. And so the critical question that we have for ourselves is, whatever time we have, what are we going to do with it? How are we making the most of every day that we have? Charlie Kirk, every single day, carried out his mission motivated by his faith in Jesus Christ and his unwavering dedication to defending our God-given freedoms enshrined in our Constitution and Bill of Rights. Tulsi later said the assassin killed Charlie to silence his voice and others who thought like him, calling it the definition of terrorism. Quote, "They feel that their only recourse is to commit an act of violence, to silence those who oppose them, and to intimidate and terrorize others into silence. This is the definition of terrorism." Now, we are going to talk about some other topics as well this morning. I have a clip that I wanted to get to on Friday. I'm hoping that we'll have an opportunity to bring it up today in regards to Assemblyman Phil Palmisano's energy tour, if you will. We've got a clip on that. And yes, yesterday, Governor Hochul endorsed Mamadani. We're going to talk about that as well. She had been receiving a lot of criticism for not endorsing, just like Hakeem Jeffries is, just like Chuck Schumer is, but for whatever reason, Governor Hochul jumping out ahead of it and deciding to endorse. We're going to talk about that as well. But continuing Vice President J.D. Vance announced that he will be hosting the Charlie Kirk Show from the White House today to pay tribute to his slain friend. The show will air at noon, less than a week after Kirk was assassinated during a college campus visit in Utah that you know. Vance and Kirk were close friends for many years, long before the now VP was even involved in politics. In a letter penned to Kirk that was shared after he was shot and killed in Utah, Vance reflected on their time together. He noted that Kirk was one of the first people he reached out to when he decided to run for the U.S. Senate, and that Kirk helped connect him with others who could help shape his campaign, including Donald Trump Jr. He added that Kirk was one of the most dedicated advocates over the years and even guided Trump's VP selection until they landed on Vance. The vice president learned that Kirk had been shot over text during a meeting in the West Wing. Some of those messages were in groups where Kirk was included, and many were reaching out to let him know they were praying for him. Vance wrote at the time, "God didn't answer those prayers, and that's okay. He had other plans. And now that Charlie is in heaven, I'll ask him to talk to the big man directly on behalf of his family, his friends, and the country he loved so dear." So J.D. Vance will be hosting the Charlie Kirk Show today from the White House. I know many of you will be undoubtedly watching that. Turning Point USA chapter requests skyrocketed following Erica Kirk's speech. I know many of you watched that speech. It was heartbreaking. It was, I don't think you could watch it without getting a tear in your eye. She did a wonderful job under the circumstances. That's a very difficult thing that she did. The requests to join and start Turning Point USA chapters at high schools and universities across the United States skyrocketed following her speech. In less than 24 hours after Erica Kirk captivated the world with an address following her husband's death, in which she stated, quote, "The movement my husband built will not die. It won't. I refuse to let that happen." Since that, Turning Point USA received 18,000 new chapter requests from across the nation. Quote, "No one will ever forget my husband's name, and I will make sure of it," Erica said. "It will become stronger, bolder, louder, and greater than ever. My husband's mission will not end, not even for a moment. I'll make Turning Point USA the biggest thing this nation has ever seen. Rest in the arms of our Lord," she said to Charlie. On Saturday, Minnesota State Representative Elliot Engel shared a tweet he received from a Turning Point USA staffer, which read, "We have 18,000 new chapter requests since Erica spoke. We had 9,000 college chapters and 1,100 high school chapters prior to this. This is the turning point." Now, in her address to the nation, to the world, following the assassination, Erica Kirk declared, "You have no idea the fire that you've ignited within his wife. The cries of his widow will echo around the world like a battle cry." Turning Point USA spokesman Andrew Colvett said the evil that committed this atrocious act, the evil that gloated and sneered after it happened, had no idea what they've unleashed across the country and the world. God had his hand on Charlie and on Turning Point USA, and he hasn't removed it. He's just adding millions more. The organization has received now, as of Sunday, the organization has received over 32,000 inquiries in the last 48 hours. To put that in perspective, Turning Point USA currently has 900 official college chapters and around 1,200 high school chapters, with a presence of around 3,500 total. Wow. And just in 48 hours, 32,000 inquiries. Charlie's vision to have a Club America chapter, that's their high school brand, in every high school in America will come true much faster than he would have possibly imagined. Truly incredible. Colvert also shared a passage from the Bible, 1 John 4:4, which reads, "Ye are of God, little children, and have overcome them, because greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world." In addition to the surge in new chapter requests, more than $4.6 million has been raised to support Kirk's family with the Christian crowdfunding site Give, Send, Go. Wow. What was that at when we had the broadcast on Friday? I want to say it was maybe around 100,000. Already up to $4.6 million. That's wonderful. We've got some other updates. I realize I'm running a little late. Antenna. I'm not sure because I'm getting mixed reaction. Some people on Antenna all seem to say it's okay. So I'm not sure what the problem is. But overall, it looks like most people are not having any problem. All right. that's if you're just tuning in. Some people, or one person that seems to be having problems with audio and video. If you are, please let me know so we can maybe get to the bottom of it. But we got to take a short break. Stay with us. This is Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV. Big Fox.
This isn't your father's library. Create with the 3D printer. Release your inner audio engineer or sewing machine riddles, all with your library card. Go to getyourlibrarycard.com today.
Fall New York State is unforgettable. From breathtaking views in every hue to adventure around every corner. It's the perfect place to get away. But don't just take our word for it. Come and see it for yourself. New York State, everything you love. Plan your next trip at iloveny.com.
Drive-in event going on now at Chilson Wilcox Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Fall into savings with the 2025 Chrysler Voyager LX, now just $39,284 with leather interior, adaptive cruise, and remote start. Chilson Wilcox, selling cars a different way, the right way.
Sophia A., grade 4, absent, because transportation was absent.
Julio M., grade 6, absent, because Wi-Fi was absent.
Maria J., grade 12, absent, because childcare for siblings was absent.
Jacob O., grade 12, absent, because housing was absent.
Aisha S.,
Olivia H.,
Darren L.,
Cole W.,
Preston L.,
absent, absent,
Absent.
absent.
because healthcare, anti-bullying,
mental health support was absent.
we're calling roll on the 15 million absent students.
Their reasons why are very real.
And yet the solution is a present, caring adult to help them along their path.
When communities and schools is present, 99% of our students are present and ready to learn.
You're what Big Fox. WYDC TV.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Marcus Street in Corning. Over 100 New Yorkers gathered at Madison Square Park on Friday to mourn Charlie Kirk, the conservative activist, as you know. Over 150 people gathered at the Reflecting Pool in Madison Square Park at 26th Street and Madison Avenue for a candlelight vigil Friday evening. Among them was Michael Giano, who founded a Turning Point USA chapter at his college. He said Kirk inspired him to take stock of his political views and learn to articulate and defend them. It's something Kirk did at so-called prove me wrong events, such as the one he was holding when he was assassinated. Quote, I had the privilege of meeting him over the summer at the Turning Point Student Action Summit in Tampa, Florida. He's been an absolute inspiration to me. Where I go to school, they push a lot of left-wing ideologies, and oftentimes people sit there silently. So it's very inspiring for me to hear Charlie debating and challenging ideas that are considered social norms, especially in a city such as this. We need to be able to disagree with one another in a respectful manner, foster the free, open, honest, integrity-filled debates that Charlie encouraged. NASCAR's Christopher Bell dedicated his Bristol victory to Charlie Kirk after he won the 500-lap race, again at Bristol Motor Speedway, and dedicated the win to Charlie Kirk. In an interview with USA Today, Bell lamented the tough week the country had endured. Most importantly, this week has obviously been a very tough week, and there's a lot on our minds. This one is for Charlie. As he raised his fist, and the crowd roared with approval. During the weekend, Bristol Motor Speedway also put up a dedication in remembrance to Kirk on the big screen at the half-mile short track, while all of the Richard Childress racing cars carried tribute decals. Lindsey Graham on NBC's Meet the Press said that this was an attack on the political movement. Kristen Welker said, what is your message to people this morning about this moment we are in this country? Lindsey Graham said, well, number one, my message to Charlie Kirk's widow is that our hearts are broken along with yours. To the MAGA world, the right response is to do what Charlie did, debate, organize, register voters, and keep the movement alive through the political process. The bottom line is that we all reject political violence. But let me just be honest with you. President Trump, nor do I, see this as they all kind of do in what? I see this as being an attack on the political movement. Charlie is one of the top 3 people in this country that allowed President Trump to win in 2024 by his efforts. I think President Trump sees this as an attack on his political movement, what he created. A year ago, people tried to blow his head off. So this isn't for me. They all do it. This is unique and different. And this is an attack on a movement by using violence. That's the way most Republicans see this. Ted Cruz covered up hateful graffiti targeting Charlie Kirk. In a post on Twitter, Cruz shared photos of himself painting over graffiti on the side of the highway. I'm not going to say what the graffiti said, but let's just say it was not too kind to Charlie Kirk. Cruz added that the Texas Department of Transportation had been notified that they would remove it expeditiously. Some deranged blank put this graffiti on the 59 freeway in Houston, he wrote. Texas DOT has been notified, and I'm sure that they will remove it. But in the meantime, Texans don't have to look at this hateful garbage anymore. And they showed him painting over the graffiti with white paint. Now, if you watched football this weekend, there was quite a few tributes to Charlie Kirk. I guess there was only about 5 teams that didn't pay tribute to him. A majority of home teams around the NFL held moments of silence for Charlie Kirk, but the Bengals, Lions, Colts, Vikings, and Ravens did not. During the day and the full day of games, the Jets, Cardinals, Dolphins, Saints, Steelers, Titans, Chiefs, and Cowboys all held moments of silence for Kirk before their kickoffs. The NFL held a moment of silence between the Packers game against the Commanders on Thursday at Lambeau Field. And in a statement the following day, the league revealed that the individual teams would make decisions on whether to hold moments of remembrance for Kirk moving forward. Quote, last night's moment was the league's decision. It's up to the clubs for this Sunday's game. There have been a variety of moments of silence and tributes in stadiums and on air in all games or a game immediately following events that rise to a national level. Clubs also often hold moments following tragic events that affect their community. There have been moments following school shootings or an attack on a house of worship, such as the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh. There's also been moments following major international incidents, such as Hamas's attack on Israel in October of 2023, and weather-related incidents such as major hurricanes and fires. The Yankees also held a touching moment of silence for Kirk before their game on Thursday. At the Jets game, photos of Kirk, his wife, and their children were shown on the video board. Now, there are 2 more games to be played this week. The Buccaneers visit the Texans, and the Chargers heading to Las Vegas to play the Raiders, so we will find out if they held that moment of silence. I know the Emmys last night. I know you can tune to other channels if you want to hear all about the Emmys and who won and who did the best and best speeches. That's not what this program is about. At the end of the day, the Emmys, I don't think, affect you as much as the stories that we're bringing up. But I do think it's worth mentioning that the Emmys stayed silent on Charlie Kirk's tragedy, but of course got political in other ways. I guess the saying is, if they can't say something nice, don't say something at all. Maybe that was the reason. So it's probably to be expected that the left-leaning Hollywood crowd at the Emmys steered clear of bringing up the shocking assassination of Charlie Kirk. It's a bit surprising that there weren't some moderate-sounding let's all come together appeals for unification in the wake of the tragedy, however. Which isn't to say politics were entirely absent, of course. Hacks star Hannah Einbinder, who won an Emmy for Best Supporting Actress in a Comedy, concluded her speech by declaring blank ICE and Free Palestine. Fellow Hacks star Megan Stalter expressed similar support, saying, cease fire. Presenter Bryan Cranston made a joke referencing the destructive woke degenerates like Tom Hanks. A few did offer vague but hopeful messages, which might have been inspired by recent events, though just as easily could be referring to Trump's controversial policies. Gene Smart said, be good to each other. Stephen Colbert winning the Emmy for Best Talk Series. You knew, that would have been easy money to bet on that he was going to win. When it was declared that his show was being canceled, there was no doubt he was going to win this award. He said 10 years ago in September of 2015, Spike Jonze stopped by my office and said, hey, what do you want this show to be about? And I said, Spike, I don't know how you could do it, but I kind of like to do late night comedy show that was about love. I don't know if I ever figured that out, but at a certain point, and you can guess what that point was, I realized in some ways we were doing late night comedy shows about loss. And that's related to love, because sometimes you only truly know how much you love something when you get a sense that you might be losing it. 10 years later, in September of 2025, my friends, I have never loved my country more desperately. God bless America. Stay strong, be brave, and if the elevator tries to bring you down, go crazy and punch a higher floor. Okay, I'm not going to go through any more of these, but not necessarily a surprise that Hollywood did not react. Well, not at the Emmys they didn't, but if you see some of the tweets that they sent out that were just horrible, we're going to get to some of those, and I hate the negativity, but I think it's important to know what we're dealing with when it comes to this hate. So we'll be talking about that. I do have some New York State issues. As I mentioned, Governor Hochul did endorse Mamdani. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. And later on in the program, we're going to hear about Speaker Jam coming up on the 18th from 3 to 7 p.m. at Pulteney Park in Bath, and that's with Catholic Charities, Steuben, and Livingston. All right, let's take a short break. A lot more on this when we come back.
You lather, rinse, moisturize, repeat, and repeat. But it never feels like enough. It's not your products. It's your water. Hard water leaves a mineral residue that clogs pores and dries out hair. Culligan water softeners remove damaging minerals, revitalizing brittle hair and dry skin. Upgrade your shower and skincare routine with Culligan, water you love.
We've had so many wonderful memories as a family. Dropping Shelly off at school, I prayed he wouldn't get stuffed in a gym bag. Missy might have been the one in Little League.
I'm asking the Lord to watch over my little girl. Well, while you're at it, ask him for a win. I got money on this.
But Georgie is the one who threw us the real curveball.
I got a girl pregnant.
Oh, no. Are you kidding me? We may not be perfect, but to me, we have the perfect family.
If you or one regularly used hair relaxers or straighteners and were diagnosed with uterine, ovarian, or endometrial cancer, you may be entitled to significant financial compensation.
I've used hair relaxers for years. I had no idea they could cause cancer.
Chemical hair relaxers and straighteners have been linked to serious conditions, including several types of cancer. If you used hair relaxers and have been diagnosed with uterine, ovarian, or endometrial cancer, call us now. There's no fee unless we win your case. Call today.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Market Street in Corning. So glad that you joined us this morning. Let's go to a comment from Ken. The Sunday shows did as expected. They pretend to be concerned about the political violence while trying to demonize Trump for saying that he wants the people responsible for inciting violence against their political opponents and cause the assassination to be punished. The bottom line is that nothing will change. The left is getting exactly what they desire, removing or silencing their roadblocks to power and wealth. Think about the people that are or were the lions of the right. I come up with a couple. Donald Trump and Charlie Kirk. Donald can't run again, and Charlie had been and Charlie has been taken out of the game because he could have run for president in 2028. Who is in the wings that can muster the support that they did? Well, that's a good point. And I heard some people say that there was a chance that Charlie might be picked for J.D. Vance's running mate. Many have called Charlie Kirk, and Joe Sompolinski was saying this on the program on Thursday, kind of a pre-political or a pre-presidential assassination, because many people thought that someday he was going to be president, at the very least governor or senator, but definitely most are saying president. Now, New York and New Jersey, we skipped the flag order, even though Trump directed that they fly at half-mast. New York and New Jersey did not issue orders to lower flags for slain conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Trump signed a directive Wednesday ordering U.S. flags nationwide lowered through Sunday at 6 p.m., calling Kirk a truly great American patriot. Flags at the White House came down that afternoon. But in New Jersey, the official state flag status listed full staff. New York also kept their flag status high, while Pennsylvania and Delaware complied with Trump's directive. State officials said New York plans to direct flags to be lowered on the day of Kirk's funeral, consistent with past practices for other high-profile deaths like Minnesota House Speaker Melissa Hortman and Corey Compatore, the Pennsylvania firefighter slain in last year's Trump rally. Several other counties and municipalities did the same. So there you are. There was a man arrested in Phoenix, arrested and charged after he blatantly trampled the growing memorial for Charlie Kirk outside Turning Point USA headquarters in Phoenix. Fox News was there rolling as the man walked through the memorial, kicking over items including flowers, vases, and flags, and mourners gathered at the memorial stepped in to stop the man's sick actions. A man in a blue polo shirt is seen yanking the man out of the memorial and throwing him to the ground. Phoenix police identified the alleged vandal as 19-year-old Ryder Coral. In the video of Coral's arrest, he appears to be wearing a similar shirt to the one worn by the man suspected of assassinating Kirk. No serious injuries were reported. Coral was wearing a black shirt, like I said, with the American flag and an eagle. Local law enforcement then escorted Coral away from the area. He is now in custody at the Maricopa County Jail on one count of criminal damage and one count of disorderly conduct. No serious injuries, as I said, were reported. Officers have already been on the scene to assist with traffic control due to the large community presence in the area. There's so many examples of this, of people losing their jobs. And now the media is, to Ken's point, one of the things the media is now saying is that it's wrong for some of these people to be fired, that it's kind of chilling on free speech. Now, the problem with this, these people have a right to free speech. That doesn't mean there aren't repercussions when it comes to your employment. That's just the facts of the nature. You may not like that. You may disagree with that, but that is the fact of what can happen. You, again, have a right to go on social media and say what you want, but if your employer does not like it, it can cost you your job. A twisted New York school cop, a resource officer, has been removed from her post after cracking jokes online about Kirk's assassination, celebrating his murder. School resource officer Tanisha Blanche was yanked from her job at Summers Intermediate School in Westchester County after her sick comments regarding the tragic shooting of Charlie Kirk, saying, well, that white sniper was overqualified when he put that hole in your neck, honey bunny. One of her posts on her Instagram account, which has now been made private. Well, that didn't end well, buddy, read another one of her Instagram stories. Why y'all don't have that same energy for the school shooting that took place yesterday, but all crying over the man that was okay with gun violence? Make it make sense, she said in a third post. School officials said Blanche was removed from her post and the police were contacted after authorities were alerted to the social media activity. The nature of the post glorifying violence, which is completely unacceptable for someone entrusted with the safety of our students and staff members, Summer Superintendent of Schools Adam Brownstein said. Brownstein described school safety as their most sacred and important obligation, adding that he contacted the supervisor of the Westchester County School Resource Officers Unit who removed Blanche. The Westchester County Police Department has affirmed that another SRO will be assigned to our school on Monday. I'm in touch directly with the police to ensure the safety and continuing of our SRO program going forward. I have many more examples of this. One FEMA official has been terminated after saying it was tough not to laugh at Charlie Kirk's assassination. A Federal Emergency Management Agency official has been fired after he was caught sharing his revolting reaction to Charlie Kirk's assassination. O'Keefe Media Group reported that the conversation on Friday and identified the man in the video as FEMA Section Chief Sean C. Kelly. Now, O'Keefe Media Group is the one founded by James O'Keefe, the founder of Project Veritas. Remember the release those Acorn videos? Remember that? Sean C. Kelly, is being terminated, O'Keefe said. Kelly appeared to make light of Kirk's assassination, saying it's tough not to laugh at this stuff, like he's a blanking lunatic and awful and kind of deserves it in his own way. When asked about how his agency feels about Kirk's assassination, he said, everybody's kind of laughing. Before calling those in charge, I can't use the word. He then said he believes that there was not a ton of empathy for the guy. Now, this, of course, coming off the heels of, we know, the bias of FEMA, where they wouldn't even, where they were told not to help those in need if they had any type of Trump paraphernalia around their house. The outlet, well, this comes after that, also happened to a Secret Service member, remember? We have more examples of this, but the O'Keefe Media article said of the video, the footage raises urgent questions about professionalism, ethical standards, and the growing politicalization of institutions charged with serving all Americans, regardless of a political affiliation. When contacted for comment prior to publication, Kelly provided the following quote, I am familiar with this, but have a nice day. All right, we've got some more examples of this, people losing their jobs for those comments. As I said, we've got guests coming up. We've got a clip that I want to play before it gets too old from Assemblyman Phil Palmisano in regards to the energy tour that they've been on. Joe Sempolinski talked about it on Thursday. He, too, was part of that tour when it reached his district. But I want to say Phil was in Albany maybe on Friday, and I know he's headed to the city, I believe, soon. So we'll hopefully get a chance to play that. I can't believe we're almost out of hour number one. But stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV. Big Fox. We'll be right back.
Want to read about ancient wonders? Go to your local library today. But this isn't your father's library. It's the home of creativity. Release your inner audio engineer or face off a dragon in the D&D club. Make your clothing ideas come together with our sewing machine rentals. Create with the 3D printer or come to the library event nights to chat with those within your community. All with your library card. Go to getyourlibrarycard.com today.
Ever lose your keys? Is that normal aging, dementia, or something else? Fear often stops us from asking for a simple checkup from the neck up. Knowing your numbers, blood pressure, blood sugar, and cholesterol are common, but your cognitive numbers are also important, especially if you're age 65 or older. Better to act sooner rather than later if you want to maintain or enhance your brain's health. Hello, I'm Kevin, President of the Dementia Society of America, a national nonprofit organization. I'm excited to offer you a free guide filled with tips for better brain health and important facts about dementia, care planning, and much more. Go to 1-800-DEMENTIA.org or call 1-800-DEMENTIA. Your brain will thank you.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. Mark writes in, good morning, Frank. Well, good morning, Mark. Hochul's endorsement of Mamadani is a big mistake on her part, but I think it's a plus for Lee Stefanik. I would agree. We're going to get to that a little bit later on. I'm kind of shocked that she came out and endorsed him, because there's enough big names that haven't, that she could get away with not endorsing, I think, as long as Hakeem Jeffries stays out of it and Chuck Schumer. But no, and I'll read the piece probably in the next hour. I want to go through a few more things in regards to Charlie Kirk, and then we're going to move on to New York State issues in the 7 o'clock hour. A public school teacher has been suspended after allegedly showing the video of Charlie Kirk's assassination to students as young as 10 years old in his class. Now, this is in Canada. The teacher also suggested that Kirk deserved to be killed and gave the young students a speech about anti-fascism and transgender issues. Quote, several students from his class went home and complained to their parents, traumatized at witnessing the on-camera death, which they were forced to witness numerous times. This was in Toronto. Parents subsequently reached out to school administrators who will be putting him on leave at the start of the school day, September 12, 2025. While playing the video repeatedly, he gave a speech to his students regarding anti-fascism, anti-trans, and how Charlie Kirk deserved for this to occur. Wow. I mean, so you've got kids age 10 to 11 being forced to watch this. I've got to say, as a grown-up, I could not watch it. That's not, I think, how did Trump put it? I think Trump said it perfectly. I would have never made a good doctor. Yes. And I think, to Trump's point, you want to remember for Charlie that you knew. You don't want to remember that or have that etched into your brain, but I know many people did watch it. But to force 10 and 11-year-olds to watch it is cruel. Delta Airlines, American Airlines, and United Airlines say they have suspended workers for social media posts about the fatal shooting of Charlie Kirk. We are made aware of Delta employees whose social media content related to the recent murder of activist Charlie Kirk went well beyond healthy, respectful debate, said Delta. These social posts stand in stark contrast to our values and our social media policy, and those employees have been suspended pending an investigation. In a statement, American Airlines said some employees who posted to promote such violence on social media were immediately removed from service. Now, this is happening more and more. Now the media is presenting this as some type of negative. We're going to give you an example of that. Newsday, I wanted to have this up on the screen. I apologize I don't. But Newsday was forced to apologize Sunday for a political cartoon on the assassination of Charlie Kirk that people called vile and insensitive. Newsday admitted it should have never printed the cartoon, which appeared in its Saturday paper and depicted an empty chair with a blood stain sitting in a tent labeled Charlie Kirk and Prove Me Wrong. I don't even understand what kind of political message they were trying to get out of it other than to, I guess, glorify or promote the death of Charlie Kirk. An arrow points to the seat with the text Turning Point USA, which is the name of his nonprofit. The controversial drawing, penned by Pulitzer finalist illustrator Chip Bach, quickly ignited outrage. Newsday, the only daily paper for Long Island, has crossed the line by publishing a vile cartoon about the political assassination of Charlie Kirk. The paper has mocked tragedy, stoked division, and poured gasoline on the flames of political violence, said Suffolk County Republican Party Chairman Jesse Garcia. So Newsday issued an apology saying on Saturday, Newsday published a syndicated editorial cartoon referring to the assassination of Charlie Kirk that was insensitive and offensive. We deeply regret this mistake and sincerely apologize to the family of Charlie Kirk and to all. We made an error in judgment. The cartoon has been removed from our digital platforms. In his illustration, Chip Bach used the name of Kirk's organization, Turning Point USA, and the theme of the Utah event, Prove Me Wrong, to suggest that Kirk's assassination might be a turning point for healing our nation's divide. The imagery was inappropriate and should never have been published in Newsday. That was the message he's trying to get. Until these actions are taken, we call on advertisers and subscribers to boycott Newsday. Do not support a publication that normalizes hate and endangers life, said the one politician. Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman, who many people believed was considering a run for governor, but as Joseph Blinsky said, if Stefanik gets in, most likely he will not. He also rushed to cancel Long Island's daily paper over the top despicable cartoon. The unconscionable cartoon in Newsday trivializes the assassination of Charlie Kirk, is so over the top despicable that it is shocking even for the majority of us who realized long ago that Newsday abandoned any pretenses of fairness. Cancel Newsday. Yes, we have list after list on this. We'll get to a couple more. We are going to talk about New York State issues. Already wrapping up hour number one. Let me take a short break and we will be right back.
Your tap water is delicious.
I know, right? It's this Culligan Smart drinking water system.
What do you think is going on in there?
I'm smelling a touch of chlorine.
Yeah, I'm detecting some PFAS.
I'm also getting notes of lead.
Perfection.
Sending it up.
Here we go.
Certified to reduce more than 70 contaminants. It's like having your own team of water experts. See the smart difference at Culligan.com.
When you're online, don't forget to visit our Facebook page at Big Fox News. Catch up on news from the Twin Tiers. Vote on the daily question and hear about local events. All on Facebook.com/Big Fox News.
This is a Sue the Collector consumer alert. Hi, my name is Jared Johnson with SueTheCollector.com. Did you know that repossessions are on the rise in America? If your car, truck, or motorcycle has been repossessed by an agent that broke a lock, assaulted you, or trespassed on your private property, you have rights. Call us for a free case review at 1-877-BAD-REPO. You pay nothing unless we win money for you. Call me now.
It's a brand new 2025 Hyundai Tucson SEL all-wheel drive featuring power liftgate and heated seats. No money down for only $369 a month for 36 months. Make car buying simple. Drive your deal at Simmons.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security and Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. Media Matters for America has abruptly suspended its publishing operations following the assassination of Charlie Kirk, with the left-wing watchdog citing what it called a distressing, upsetting time. Today did not feel like the right moment to publish some of the longer lead pieces we've been working on that did not address this fraught moment. It's obviously been a distressing, upsetting time following Charlie Kirk's tragic murder for those engaged in media work and everyone concerned about the state of American democracy broadly. Our primary concern has been ensuring the well-being of our staff while simultaneously continuing to monitor the information ecosystem. The Comcast executives weighed in on the coverage on MSNBC, calling it insensitive. Comcast's top brass slammed MSNBC's coverage of the killing of Charlie Kirk, and using terms such as insensitive and inappropriate remarks like those made by Matthew Dowd, who has since been fired. You may have seen that MSNBC recently ended its association with a contributor who made an unacceptable and insensitive comment about the horrific event. That coverage was at odds with fostering civil dialogue and being willing to listen to the points of view of those who have differing opinions. We should be able to disagree robustly, passionately, but ultimately with respect. We need to do better. Far left New Republic, the far left New Republic, in the immediate aftermath of the assassination, declared that Democrats' response condemning the killings were too tasteful for the moment, warning that empathy helps prop up Republicans and Trumpism as legitimate and normal political actors. And they urged Democrats to adopt a callous, perhaps, but sort of cruel tone, even suggesting they say, "I'm sorry his family is suffering. I wish his message would die with him." In the article titled Charlie Kirk and the Empathy Trap, with the subhead, "Democrats will never be as cruel as Republicans after a political assassination. That's to their credit, but it may not be to their advantage." You could go online and pick the odd leftists making light of Charlie Kirk's death. It then dismissed Democrat leaders' official statements, saying political violence has no place in America, Hakeem Jeffries declaring it's completely incompatible with American values, yada, yada. The author argued that such remarks only showed weakness, declaring that these denunciations of political violence are too tasteful for the moment, adding piously expressing respect for Kirk's work and incanting the importance of a debate are capitulations to the Republicans invoking standards to which the right is no longer pretends to adhere to. Actually, it's worse. There are no Republicans asking or demanding that their Democrat counterparts play the part of sympathetic colleagues. Democrats, it claimed, reflectively react that way, and it still surprises them when the notoriously remorseful refuse to reciprocate. Wow. Jameel Hill, you may recall her. She worked at ESPN. She called Charlie Kirk a white supremacist whose influence was dangerous. Former ESPN commentator Jameel Hill issued her thoughts on Charlie Kirk and his legacy during a special live episode of her Spolitics show. "I'm tired of white supremacist beliefs being considered a difference of opinion. I'm really sick of that. As I'm paying attention to how people are talking about and memorializing Charlie Kirk, I'm insulted by the fact that they think his beliefs are just about a difference of opinion. I can live with a difference of opinion." Anyway, we got to take a break. We're going to talk about... There's a few other things on this. We may get to it later. I think I'm going to jump ahead to New York when we come back. But feel free to weigh in on this or any of the other topics this morning. But we're going to go to New York State. We've got a clip from Phil Palmisano, and we'll also be talking with Catholic Charity Stu Bennett in Livingston in just a little bit. That's in the 7 o'clock hour as well. It's hard to believe. Hour number 1 in the books. Hour number 2, mere moments away. Stay with us.
William Matar has a reputation for being a good guy.
Because I am a good guy.
For being focused on motor vehicle accident cases.
Because I focus on motor vehicle accidents.
For fighting for his clients.
Because I fight for my clients.
If you've been injured in a motor vehicle accident, it matters who you hire. It matters in the experience as well as the results. Call William Matar. Visit WilliamMatar.com.
Time to go to the gym? The health club is not an option? Come to Hesselson today and see why swim spas and fitness systems can fit into anyone's yard and budget. 12-foot, 14-foot, 15-foot, 18-foot dual temperature hot tub and swim spas are all on display in Hesselson's indoor and outdoor showroom. Try before you buy. 0% interest-free financing options are available on every Hesselson swim spa. Swim and exercise year-round and start making every day better. After 70 years, it's still fun to poke in the corners at Hesselson's.
Do it all with Steel Battery. Now is the best time to save big on over 40 hardworking Steel tools. Hurry into your local Steel dealer.
Welcome to hour number 2 of Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Acom. We are broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio on Market Street in Corning. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We're going to tie this in because I do have a few things left to talk about with Charlie Kirk, but we may bring that up at the end of the broadcast if we have time, because a lot of it is opinion pieces. I know we've spent a lot of time talking about the various updates from over the weekend, where we learned that the attempted assassin is not cooperating with police and those type of things. But I will say, where am I? Because we're going to get to New York State issues. Governor Hochul released an op-ed at the Empire Report saying political violence deserves no place in our democracy, and it's on us to stop it. She said an assassination attempt on President Trump, the assassination of Minnesota House Speaker Melissa Hortman, and the shooting of State Senator John Hoffman, a plot to kidnap Governor Gretchen Whitmer, and a firebombing at the home of Governor Josh Shapiro, the violent attack on our Capitol on January 6th, and now the assassination of Charlie Kirk. These are not isolated incidents. They're part of a disturbing and increasingly common pattern of political violence. Unless we take action, it won't stop here. Over the course of the past few days, we're rightfully seeing leaders from both sides of the aisle forcefully condemning the horrific violence that bore out in Utah. But we've also watched voices declare war on their fellow Americans and fan the flames of anger, no doubt contributing to the ensuing rise in swatting threats across the country at historically black colleges and universities and police offices. And political offices, All of us as Americans, but especially those in position of leadership, must grapple with the fact that we allowed ourselves to reach a place where a growing number of people believe that using violence against those we disagree with is acceptable. In an age defined by viral rhetoric and algorithmic amplification, the line between speech and violence has become increasingly blurred. Social media algorithms reward provocative, emotionally charged content, and as a result, extremist narratives are shared, liked, and recommended, not because they are truthful, but because they drive engagement. And then here we are in a feedback loop where extreme language spreads often unchecked and someone eventually pulls the trigger. What makes this pattern especially insidious is its built-in deniability. It's built-in deniability because we often describe the perpetrators of those heinous acts as lone wolves. Those whose rhetoric radicalized or mobilized them to violence can claim they can't be blamed for actions they did not directly command. This shields the radicalizer from responsibility, even as the violence, because of their language, becomes more and more frequent. Some will argue that this is an attack on free speech. I call baloney. The First Amendment protects citizens from government censorship, but it does not shield those of us in the public spotlight from accountability. Freedom of expression should not become a smokescreen for promoting hate or encouraging violence. We must move beyond the fiction that speech exists in a vacuum. When influential voices frame opponents as less than human, they create the condition in which violence becomes justifiable. At this point, however, identifying the pattern is not enough. First, leaders must commit to toning down their rhetoric, and everyday Americans must hold us all accountable. There should be consequences at the ballot box and in the court of public opinion when we don't. Second, we must take real steps to try to help those who may be on the path towards violence to turn around and walk the opposite direction. She gives some history of herself. I don't want to go through all that. This is, again, Governor Hochul. I urge New Yorkers and Americans to hearken back to the same sense of unifying purpose after 9/11. Political violence has no place in America. A democracy thrives on debate, not bloodshed. As broken as our nation can feel at times like this, I still believe to my core that the ties that bind us are much stronger than the forces to seek to tear us apart. Most of us, no matter where we fall on the political spectrum, have the same dreams. A safe place for our kids, our work, to have fun, and to live with a sense of purpose and dignity. That's the America I hold in my heart, and I believe it should exist in everyone's heart. So in this moment, let's come together and resolve to forge a safer, more tolerant world, not just for today, for our children and our grandchildren. We have work to do, but as always, New Yorkers and Americans are up for the task, or up for the, sorry, I got distracted, up for the challenge. There we go. All right, speaking of New York, Congressman Langworthy on Friday announced $150,000 in federal grants for Corning Community College and their workforce education, saying Southern Tier businesses need skilled workers who are ready to step into good-paying jobs on day one. This investment will strengthen Corning Community College's ability to train and prepare students, ensuring a steady pipeline of talent that supports our region's workforce and drives economic growth. The project is part of a larger investment by ARC into workforce development and training initiatives, supporting the next generation workforce and local communities across the region, including New York's Southern Tier. All right, we're good. Okay, so Governor Hochul, and we're going to talk about this in just a moment, did endorse Mamdani. There's some criticism because who was it? Chuck Schumer didn't. Hakeem Jeffries hasn't. There's a couple other big names that have not endorsed him. We're going to tell you exactly what Hochul had to say. Read it in her own words. But before that, we know Phil Palmisano and other Assembly Republicans continue the energy tour in Albany. That was on Thursday or Friday. And he had a little clip from that I wanted to play for you because I know energy is one of our major topics here on the program. So I wanted to make sure that we had an opportunity to play that for you right now. I'm just trying to make sure that we find it. Let's see today. Yes, there we go. This is from Assemblyman Phil Palmisano from Friday and in regards to his energy tour in Albany. We'll go to this.
About what's coming down the tracks at them. So I appreciate all my colleagues from being here. We're continuing our energy tour around the state to highlight the failed and costly policies of this administration and the Democrats in Albany. We're coordinating our press conference with the public hearings that are going on around the state. But the fact of the matter is, people are seeing ever-increasing utility bills with no end in sight. And Governor Hochul is quick to blame the utilities, saying it's all their fault. But she fails to look in the mirror and take responsibility and acknowledge it is in fact her policies and the Democrats in Albany's policies which are creating these energy increases for New Yorkers. And I'll talk more about that in a minute. But we appreciate the public hearings that are going on in the public comment period. We like that. And as Senator Burrell said, even the plan says they want an all-of-the-above approach. They know there's a need to continue natural gas. They know nuclear should be part of the equation, fuel diversity, and yes, affordability and reliability. But unfortunately, the policies being advanced up here in Albany don't reflect these words. In addition, our conferences, the Senate and Assembly Republican conferences, are calling for additional public hearings. And in fact, we sent a letter to the Governor Hochul and President Harris today asking for 4 additional hearings. 1 in Central New York, 1 in the Mohawk Valley, 1 in the North Country, and 1 in the Southern Tier. Why were they omitted? Think about Central New York. You have Micron going there, and it's the central for our nuclear hub. The Mohawk Valley with Chobani, the North Country with Alcoa and Fort Drum, and the Southern Tier with Corning and Lockheed Martin, just to name a few. The far-reaching impact of these energy policies and the energy plan and the impact it's going to have on them, people deserve to have in-person hearings in these locations also, and not just have to go down the Thruway corridor in New York City. And we are also calling for an extension of the public comment period by an additional 90 days, because right now it is set to end on October 6th. That's not enough time for New Yorkers. I would like to share with you an interesting poll that came out this summer. the poll said that 71% of New Yorkers opposed a natural gas ban, including 76% of independents. That same poll said that New Yorkers, 2/3 of them, want a balance between renewable resources and natural gas. The message is clear. New Yorkers want energy choice. Unfortunately, Governor Hochul and the Democrats in Albany, their energy policies, their green mandates, totally disregard energy affordability, feasibility, reliability, safety, energy choice, and fuel diversity. It's just totally designed to fully electrify the grid for more electric vehicles and electric heat pumps, despite what New Yorkers want and need. Make no mistake about it, ladies and gentlemen. The governor's policies, the Democrats' policies and plans in Albany for energy is totally dismantle the affordable and reliable natural gas infrastructure, supply and delivery system, despite the fact that 60% of New Yorkers heat their homes with natural gas, despite the fact that 40% of our generation comes from natural gas. Their plan and goal is totally to take away consumer choice on how you heat your home, how you cook your food, how you power your building, and the vehicle you drive. It will, in fact, jeopardize the reliability of the grid, leading to dangerous and deadly blackouts, and it will certainly continue our nation-leading out migration of more families, farmers, small businesses, and manufacturers leaving the state of New York. As I said, the public has seen ever-rising utility rates, and Governor Hochul, again, points the finger at the utilities. But where is her outrage? Where were we and where are we now? In 2019, before we passed the CLCPA, the residential electricity rate was 17 cents per kilowatt hour. Today it's 25 cents per kilowatt hour. That is 40% higher than the national average. That is unacceptable. That's not affordable for New Yorkers. Where was Governor Hochul and my colleagues on the Democratic side of the aisle when the PSC in July of 2023 passed $43 billion in future ratepayer increases to pay for the green energy mandates as they called for it? Where is the outrage from Governor Hochul and my Democratic colleagues in the legislature when Basil Sagles, co-chair of the Climate Action Council plan, said cap and invest, when implemented, would increase prices to the pump for New Yorkers by 62 cents a gallon and increase home natural gas heating prices by 80%? Where was the outrage? Of course, where's the outrage about the mother of all unfunded mandates, the electric school bus mandate? We've heard in time again, $8 to $15 billion, double the cost, triple the cost for an electric vehicle versus a near zero emission school district bus. So we've seen the policies that have passed: the fracking ban, pipeline denials, air permit denials for new natural gas plants, for renewable plants, CLCPA, cap invest, all electric buildings, electric vehicle, everything, one after the other, that is causing this problem. And why is this being done? This is all being done in the name of climate change and global emissions. But here's the fact. New York State contributes just 0.4% of total global emissions. China contributes 30%, has 1,000 coal plants, and building more each and every week. And if you want to add India and Russia, that's 40%. Do we really think they're going to help us meet our clean energy goals? Now listen, we can get down to zero, but we're not going to make an impact on global emissions. But we will dismantle our state's economy, and we will drive more businesses and bankrupt families, farmers, small businesses, and manufacturers. And if I could just mention something real briefly on reliability, the NYSEL, as Senator Jake said, has sounded the alarm. Short-term gaps and long-term gaps. The long-term gap by 2040 to meet the net zero generation says we need 27 to 45 gigawatts of dispatchable emission-free resources. Wind and solar does not count because it's not dispatchable. And they don't know what the technology yet is going to be. Advanced nuclear, and nuclear should be part of it. Hydrogen, renewable natural gas, they don't know. And in that context, natural gas has always been referred to as a bridge fuel, hasn't it? Well, you don't tear down a bridge before you build a new one. But unfortunately, that's what Governor Hochul and the Democrats in Albany are content on doing with the dangerous and costly policies they continue to implement at the state level. So with that, I'll stop.
Thank you to Assemblyman Phil Palmisano. Wanted to pass that along to you because I know we've talked so much about energy with him, and we thank him for doing that tour. When we come back, we're going to talk about Hochul's endorsement of Mamadani, and then a little bit later on, we're going to hear about the Catholic Charity Stu Men Livingston and their speaker jam coming up on the 18th from 3 to 7 p.m. So stay with us. This is Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
When you're online, don't forget to visit our Facebook page at Big Fox News. Catch up on news from the Twin Tiers. Vote on the daily question and hear about local events. All on Facebook.com/Big Fox News.
This is a Sue the Collector consumer alert. Hi, my name is Jared Johnson with SueTheCollector.com. Did you know that repossessions are on the rise in America? If your car, truck, or motorcycle has been repossessed by an agent that broke a lock, assaulted you, or trespassed on your private property, you have rights. Call us for a free case review at 1-877-BAD-REPO. You pay nothing unless we win money for you. Call me now.
Cold Brook was once a thriving village, swallowed by silence and shadow. The town turned on a woman named Granny J. Hatchett. So that night the townsfolk went into her cabin. They tied her to the old tree, and before she was burned, she said,
"You all will vanish like smoke, and when you return, you'll wear your sins on your skin."
Now, each October, the cursed souls return to seek vengeance.
But that's just a story, right, John? John, did you hear that?
Dante Brown, Big Fox News, Southern Tier.
The Fox Sports app isn't just any sports app. It's your sports app.
For the touchdown!
Yeah, yours. Your teams. Your highlights. Your scores. Your stories. Just choose your favorites to get more of what you want.
To the end zone!
And of course, stream your teams live. The best part is free with your pay TV subscription.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam. Brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. And we are back, broadcasting live. All right, let's go. Wow, so many comments from viewers here. Good morning. Well, hey, good morning. Reminder of those watching from Chemung County to attend the Resilience Meeting. It will be held at 409 William Street in Elmira tomorrow from 5 to 7 p.m. Thank you. Tell me more about that. What is that? The Resilience Meeting. Again, tomorrow from 5 to 7. Comment from a different viewer. Those making profane comments about the assassination are no doubt left-wing radicals. The problem, as I see it, is that the lunatics inspire the far-left clowns to perpetrate violence. However, these hypocrites say that they are against violence. The losers just don't get it. Thank you very much. Comment. Thank you for this. Good morning, Frank, and good morning to you, too. Have you seen the call to reinstate the Smith-Mundt Act? The one Obama changed in 2012, blamed for the further propaganda that is called news. Thank you for that. I don't have a comment or opinion on it yet because I haven't had a chance to read the article that you sent me. But thank you for sending. I will probably not have a chance to read it until after the program. But I do appreciate it, and I'll try to get more information because that intrigues me. Would it do any good to fix the failing media we have? That's why I'm excited to read the article. Comment from a different viewer. Oh my gosh, right on, Phil. Phil Palmisano for governor. I think Phil's happy if Elise Stefanik declares for governor. We'll put it that way. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I know he gets a little sheepish when people suggest he runs for governor. But he is spot on with those when he talks about energy, isn't he? Comment from a different viewer. Corning Inc. uses a huge amount of natural gas. If the leftist clowns in Albany don't get it, they will when companies like Corning leave the state. Not to mention all the businesses that are not even considering setting up shop in New York State. I think that's our biggest problem right now. We're not even on anybody's short list. Why would they be? Because look, let's say you follow all the rules. You do everything 100% correctly. They still might fine you, like they're doing with oil and gas. They're saying, oh, yeah, you followed all of our very difficult rules here in New York State, and you follow all the just red tape, and here it is 10 years later, and we're no longer fans of oil and fossil fuels, so we are going to fine you, what was it, $70 billion, something insane. So why would a business come to New York State? Comment from a different viewer. Frank, thank you for sharing Phil's energy video. Please keep us informed about the public meetings in the Southern Tier. Have a wonderful day. Thank you. I don't know if I think he already had those. I think they're trying to hit areas that haven't had the message spread. That's why he's been in Albany, New York City. But I will find out. If there is one, I will definitely let you know. You're talking about not just Phil's. You're talking about the public comment, I think. Yeah, didn't Phil say on the interview that there are no, I mean, you can do Zoom, but there are no public forums about these energy plans in the Southern Tier. They're all in the city. Surprise, surprise, in the cities. But if I hear anything, I will let you know. Comment from a different viewer. Good morning, Frank. Well, good morning. Hochul's endorsement of Mama Donnie is great news. Between that and her disastrous policies, she has no chance of winning re-election. Well, from your lips to God's ears. We're going to tell you about her endorsement. Wow, look at all these waves and messages coming in right here. We'll read her endorsement after we hear from Catholic Charities of Steuben and Livingston, which is coming up next. So stay with us. We'll be right back. And keep those comments coming in. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
WYDC Advisory Services has been building long-term relationships in our community for over 35 years. We pride ourselves in the ability of our teams in wealth management and tax and business to work together to offer coordinated planning services for our clients. The mission of WYDC Advisory Services is to provide specialized wealth management, tax, and business services to help clients meet their personal financial goals. WYDC Advisory Services, Water Street in Elmira. Visit us at valicinti.com.
This isn't your library. Create with the 3D printer. Release your inner audio engineer or sewing machine riddles, all with your library card. Go to getyourlibrarycard.com today.
It's great to catch up, Jamie. How's business?
Good. Are you up to speed with the new beneficial ownership reporting requirements?
Sort of. What's it about?
It's a new initiative to help fight crimes like money laundering, fraud, and drug trafficking. A lot of small businesses like ours just have to report some basic info to the federal government about the real people behind them.
Does that include my cafe?
There are some exemptions for certain companies, but don't worry. There's lots of guidance on the government's website about who needs to file. Check out fincen.gov/BOI. Filing is easy and free. It took me less than 20 minutes.
Looks like I do have to file. Thanks, Jamie. It's great having a supportive business community.
Reporting beneficial ownership information helps protect U.S. national security. Filing is quick, secure, and free. And it's the law. Learn more at fincen.gov/BOI.
Football's newest show breaks down all things NFL. GMFB Overtime.
Check out top highlights, player interviews, special guests, and everything in between. 5 days a week.
GMFB Overtime. It's football for everyone.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. Welcome back to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Acom. We are broadcasting from the Hesselson studio, and we're talking about Speaker Jam. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you.
Well, first, before we tell people what Speaker Jam is and what it's all about, tell us about Catholic Charities of Steuben and Livingston.
Yeah, great. Thank you. So we're a longstanding human service agency. We primarily serve Steuben and Livingston County, but we actually kind of like have intersected out into like 7 counties.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, doing some different little things here and there.
Do you have to do all that driving? Or do you have one headquarters? Because Steuben's big enough by itself.
I know, right? No, we kind of have little hubs here and there, but so we serve lots of different things. Some big things that people may know us by is healthy families.
Sure.
So that's serving families. We have some foster care stuff. We're actually working on in Livingston County. We have. Like a shelter that we're doing there. Wow. We have food pantries in Bath and Hornell. And then we have our Oasis programs as well. A lot of people know us by our prevention programs that we're in lots of different schools, and we do things in the community, Narcan training. And then also we have our community residence programs that we serve.
Well, and there's such a need for everything you've described, unfortunately, right? There, in our community. That's why I'm always so impressed when I hear about Catholic Charities and all that they do, because you guys take on a lot as an organization.
Right.
Yeah. Now, you're specifically the senior director of the Oasis programs. Tell us exactly what that means to people that aren't familiar with the Oasis program.
Yeah. So, you might have seen, I know that Oasis is starting to do a lot of commercials, billboards you might see, driving down the highway. So Oasis actually stands for, it's a New York State Office of Alcohol and Office of Addiction Services and Supports. They redid it.
Okay. I thought I was guessing right. I was way off. Okay.
Yeah, so they reworded it. So they regulate all drug and alcohol treatment facilities, but not just that, but also prevention services in New York State.
Okay.
Yep. So here at Catholic Charities Steuben Livingston, we fall under them for our prevention services as well as our residential services.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So with that, with our prevention services, you may know us. We're in several schools in Steuben County.
Mm-hmm.
We also, you might know us from the opioid committee. We do a lot of Narcan training.
Okay.
And then also the Prevention Coalition. We do that as well. A lot of community partners around that. Is a pretty active coalition that serves underneath our prevention hub. That's a huge hub that we do.
Okay.
And there's also another, it's called JSYRC. That's another thing that we do in Bath.
Yeah.
So
I don't have my decoder ring.
Right, you need that. Okay. And then also in the other hub of residential services. So we have a community residence, 18-bed, all-male house in Bath.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So that's a residential program helping transition. It's a reintegration program helping. It's an all-male program, reintegrating, it's recovery focused, helping to reintegrate into society. All right. So we have that's a community residence, all in-house, right? And then we also have another, you can consider it more of a step down. They're scattered sites apartments, and we have those in Bath and Hornell.
Okay. And that's so important, because we've talked about this with the sheriff actually in the past, not this specific, but the need for, not just, okay, now you served your time, good luck with your friends, the bad influences and things like that. You kind of need that gradual adjustment back into kind of a regular life, I suppose.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, then and I think the whole stigma behind that.
Yeah.
People instantly think you see someone in, they instantly think halfway house, that's,
right.
that instant, and it's that stigma behind it. And not everyone in a facility like that has a criminal record.
Right. No,
They
right.
literally
That's
don't.
a good point. Yeah, no, I was just saying in recovery in general, right? You
or
do end
in
up thinking
recovery
about
doesn't necessarily mean that you have a criminal record.
Right.
Is there? Yeah. Our referral sources, if you think about I would look statistically, some of them, yes, they have criminal records. But there's a lot of self-referrals,
Yeah.
And I think that's super important to recognize.
Yeah, and I agree with you, because I think that's one of the things, and I've talked about this on numerous interviews in the past when we talk about substance abuse issues, which is there is a stigma. And a lot of people avoid, and I learned some of these stats, which I don't have off the top of my head, but especially during COVID and after, you have people of every walk of life that had gotten some type of an addiction, and some of these people don't feel like maybe because of career or family or friends, they don't want to seek the help because there is still that, unfortunately, that stigma of getting help.
Yeah. And I would say, trending wise, societal wise, I've been in the field for 18 years. Okay. So it's always been this big elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Huge elephant in the room. I can guarantee you, even if we went outside and probably surveyed everyone walking up and down Market Street right now, hey, do you know someone that suffers from, using some kind of substance use?
Yeah.
They would probably say yes.
Of course. Yeah.
So it's just this huge elephant in the room, right? So the more we talk about it, the less power that it has, right?
Yeah.
So it's really just about talking about it,
I agree. And that's why I'm glad you could be on the program, because September is Recovery Month. What is Recovery Month all about? What's that look like?
Yeah, so it's really awesome, because I feel like, and that's, that's what really helps to bring down the stigma from it, right?
Yeah.
Like SAMHSA, it's one of those other organizations, right? So it's an acronym: Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. So they set the tone for Recovery Month for us. Okay? It's really cool. So, but it focuses on not just recovery from addiction, but also mental health. Okay? Because, like, I personally feel like, and I know a lot of, my fellow comrades feel like there's such a strong connection between the two.
No, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's so important, especially in recovery, to, identify the both of them, to treat the both of them. Like, it's important, right?
Yeah.
There's not one or the other is more important. So it kind of to identify, like, hey, recovery is out there, right? Like, it can happen. It's a time that we can kind of just say, hey, recovery is real, right? And that's been like
theme, right?
Literally the theme
Yeah.
that SAMHSA said to us. And so they broke down, it says recovery is real, and it's restoring every aspect of life.
Oh, okay.
So, and I thought that was really neat and clever, because if you think about, addiction affects every aspect of life. It really does.
Yeah.
So recovery is all about restoring every aspect of life.
Yeah.
So addiction may take everything away from us, but we can actually restore every aspect of our life.
That's very
through
powerful.
recovery.
Yeah.
I've seen it happen.
I'm sure you have.
And it's beautiful.
Yeah, and that's why I think what you have coming up on the 18th, so coming up this week, Speaker Jam from 3 to 7 p.m. at Pulteney Park in Bath. Tell us about, what is a Speaker Jam?
Oh my gosh, we're so excited. So my team is, like, super excited too. We've been we've been like getting together with all of it. We have a lot of amazing people in the community that are in recovery that are like, oh, I want to share my story, right? So I think one of the most important aspects of recovery is, one, knowing that you're not alone, right?
Oh, yeah.
And the power of sharing our story is so important. Like, we may not feel like just sharing a little bit of our story is impactful, but even sharing, like, a 30-second part of our story,
I believe it,
may impact someone's life, and maybe, like, that may be so impactful that it could change
their life,
the trajectory of one human.
What does the day look like? So you have Speaker Jam. It is from 3 to 7, so it's quite a lengthy jam.
Yeah. So it's at Pulteney Park in Bath. We have lots of community partners that are going to set up and have different resources available.
Okay.
We have a food truck that's setting up. We have a vendor. She's going to be there for permanent jewelry. We have some door prizes available. We have lots of individuals that will be sharing their stories. We have some music. We have a couple individuals that from Bring Your Skin Tattoo, they will be doing free face painting for kids and
great.
temporary tattoos. And there'll be games for kids. So it's family friendly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so bring the kids. We just really want it to be, it's a free event. Like, it's from 3 to 7. Come as you are. I welcome everyone.
Of course.
Just a free time just to come as you are and share your story.
Wow, what a great idea. And again, it's coming up on the 18th. That's Thursday at from 3 to 7 p.m. at Pulteney Park in Bath. What can, someone watching this and maybe they're saying, I could use this help, and of course they can go to the Speaker Jam and have the conversation with you. But what's the best way to start that road to recovery that some people watching may need?
Yeah. You can actually go to our website.
Okay.
My contact information is on there, or even the Catholic Charities, there's a link on there that you can contact to us at. Even reaching out to the helpline, which is 211.
Yeah, of course.
The crisis line's always available. Just asking for help.
Yeah. And if someone's watching and perhaps they don't need that kind of help, but they understand the importance of Catholic Charities and the work that you do, the amazing work that you do, how can we help you?
Yeah.
Is there a way to get involved, volunteer, even just show up at
Absolutely.
Speaker Jam, donate, something like that?
Yeah, we're always up for donating. Our food pantries always. We have an amazing whole volunteer hub. We have a whole person that runs our whole volunteering, and we're always looking for volunteers.
Okay.
And his name's Nick, and that's a way you can even go to our website, and there's a link you can click on that says volunteer opportunities.
Okay.
We're always needing volunteers.
Well, good. Well, best of luck with not only September, because you probably have a busy September, right, being
Yes.
Recovery Month, but also best of luck with Speaker Jam.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
We're excited.
All right, we'll be right back with Frankly Speaking. Stay with us.
Valacity Advisory Services has been building long-term relationships in our community for over 35 years. We pride ourselves in the ability of our teams in wealth management and tax and business to work together to offer coordinated planning services for our clients. The mission of Valacity Advisory Services is to provide specialized wealth management, tax, and business services to help clients meet their personal financial goals. Valacity Advisory Services, Water Street in Elmira. Visit us at valacinti.com.
This isn't your father's library. Create with the 3D printer. Release your inner audio engineer or sewing machine riddles, all with your library card. Go to getyourlibrarycard.com today.
It's great to catch up, Jamie. How's business?
Good. Are you up to speed with the new beneficial ownership reporting requirements?
Sort of. What's it about?
It's a new initiative to help fight crimes like money laundering, fraud, and drug trafficking. A lot of small businesses like ours just have to report some basic info to the federal government about the real people behind them.
Does that include my cafe?
There are some exemptions for certain companies, but don't worry. There's lots of guidance on the government's website about who needs to file. Check out fincen.gov/BOI. Filing is easy and free. It took me less than 20 minutes.
Looks like I do have to file. Thanks, Jamie. It's great having a supportive business community.
Reporting beneficial ownership information helps protect U.S. national security. Filing is quick, secure, and free. And it's the law. Learn more at fincen.gov/BOI.
Football's newest show breaks down all things NFL. GMFB Overtime.
Check out top highlights, player interviews, special guests, and everything in between. 5 days a week.
GMFB Overtime. It's football for everyone.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson's studio, and I'd like to thank CG, I believe is how you pronounce her name, from Catholic Charities of Steuben and Livingston for being on the program. Speaker Jam on the 18th from 3 to 7 at Pulteney Park in Bath. Let's go to some viewer comments. First up, Hochul has shown what she really believes in by endorsing Mamadani. Communists of a feather flock together. Thank you very much. Pete writes in, all the negative impacts to our region that Phil and you point out with putting the natural gas economy gutting the natural gas economy may be intentional. Hochul may think that her energy policy will help depopulate upstate, a conservative thorn in the side of the Democrat majority. I see analogy to Britain's reaction to the potato famine, which depopulated Ireland. Perhaps she will shut down our interstate highways next in the name of their negative impact on the climate. Very, very good point. Thank you very much. Hochul did endorse Mamadani. This was in the New York Times on the Sunday edition of the New York Times. She said, this Governor Hochul, In the 4 years since I became governor of New York, one of my foundational beliefs has been the importance of the office working hand in hand with the mayor of New York City for the betterment of the 8.3 million residents we both represent. The question of who will be the next mayor is one I take extremely seriously and to which I've devoted a great deal of thought. I'm endorsing Assemblyman Zoran Mamdani. In the past few months, I've had frank conversations with him. We've had our disagreements, but in our conversation, I heard a leader who shares my commitment to a New York where children can grow up safe in their neighborhoods and where opportunity where opportunity is within reach for every family. I heard a leader who is focused on making New York City affordable, a goal I enthusiastically support. I also shared with him my priorities, making it very clear that our police officers should have every resource to keep our streets and subways safe. I urged him to ensure that there is strong leadership at the helm of the NYPD, and he agreed. We discussed the need to combat the rise of anti-Semitism urgently and unequivocally. I've been glad to see him meet with Jewish leaders across the city, listening and addressing their concerns directly. I look forward to working together to make sure New Yorkers of all faiths feel safe and welcome in New York City. I emphasized to him my belief in keeping and attracting businesses so that New York remains the center of the global economy and we create even more good-paying jobs for our residents. Affordability has long been my top priority as governor, and it is the number one concern I share with Mr. Mamdani. As governor, I've taken action to realize this goal, including lowering middle-class income taxes and making school meals free for all students. But there is more work ahead for us. And in light of the abhorrent and destructive policies coming out of Washington every day, I needed to know that the next mayor will not be someone who would surrender 1 inch to President Trump. I didn't leave my conversation with Mr. Mamdani aligned with him on every issue, but I am confident that he has the courage, urgency, and optimism New York City needs to lead it through the challenges of this moment. I draw upon my personal experiences while considering a possible endorsement. When I walk the streets, attend religious services, or ride the subway, I meet New Yorkers who love their city, but despite hard work, feel they can't afford to live and thrive there. I know what that struggle feels like. My parents started married life in a trailer park outside Buffalo. In the early years, they raised 6 children on a tight budget. My mom bought our clothes on layaway or at secondhand stores, and she stretched dinners with Spam sandwiches, a day-old bread pulled from the freezer. Those experiences will never leave me. Families cannot wait another year, another month, another election cycle. They need urgent action now. Since taking office in January, Mr. Trump has killed jobs and dragged down our economy with tariff tax hikes that make life more expensive for working families. He's gutted Medicaid and food assistance, slashed federal funding to New York City that New York City relies on, and threatened a federal takeover of New York, all while trying to put his thumb on the scale of our local elections. New York needs leaders who will put aside differences, stand up, and fight back against Mr. Trump. Mr. Mamdani and I will both be fearless in confronting the president's extreme agenda with urgency, conviction, and the defiance that defines New York. And we must never allow Mr. Trump to control our city like the king he wants to be. Anyone who accepts his tainted influence or benefits from it is compromised from the start. My entire career, I've embraced a happy warrior can-do spirit that meets any challenge undaunted. I and other New Yorkers have seen that in Mr. Mamdani. Public life is an extraordinary privilege. It should never be about power for its own sake, but rather always about making the lives of others better. Some will say Mr. Mamdani and I are unlikely allies, a mom governor from Buffalo and a 33-year-old assemblyman from Queens. To me, that's the beauty of this moment. What New Yorkers deserve right now is not grievances or grudges, but steely resolve to fight like, we'll say, heck. Mr. Mamdani and I don't see eye to eye on everything, and I don't expect us to. I will always reserve the right to disagree honestly and to argue passionately. But I also believe that New York State and New York City are at our best when we stand together against those who attempt to tear us apart. For all these reasons, I'm endorsing Zoran Mamdani in the upcoming election for mayor, and I look forward to working with him to ensure that New York City's best days lie ahead. Now, easy to guess, I should say, Republicans were very outspoken on this. She wants to stop Andrew Cuomo. Him being mayor during her re-election is not anything she wants to see happen, one source said. This will obviously be a boon for the Republicans. Curtis Seelwa, I know. Jeez, I have trouble with that. Seelwa said the worst governor in America just endorsed the worst candidate for mayor. They deserve each other. New Yorkers see through the backroom politics and notice Curtis Seelwa is fighting for them, not the insiders. Curtis will be mayor this year. Elise Stefanik will be governor next year, and the nonsense will finally end. Elise Stefanik wrote, "As I always said, it was only a matter of time before the worst governor in America, Kathy Hochul, would bend the knee to the communist anti-Semite Zohran Mamdani. At the exact moment when New Yorkers are looking for strong leadership from their governor, with a majority opposing Zohran Mamdani, Kathy Hochul embraces this raging communist who will destroy New York, making it less affordable and more dangerous, once again putting criminals and communists first and New Yorkers last." Stefanik continued. Now, at least Stefanik has not declared, but as you can see with statements like this, very much looking like she's preparing for that gubernatorial race. Hochul owns every Mamdani radical position, like defunding the police, releasing violent criminals on our streets, closing local small businesses in favor of government grocery stores, massive tax hikes, abolishing border law enforcement, and every heinous pro-Hamas anti-Semitic position. Yeah, she caved. I'm not going to read what some others said. Mike Henry, who is a contender for New York Attorney General, said he's 33 and he's never had a job. Just admit you are endorsing him out of fear. That's a good point. So there you are, and I think Elise Stefanik put it perfectly. We got to take a short break. We'll talk a little bit more about this. A couple things before we wrap up as well. I know, only 15 minutes left. Get your comments in, and we'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV. Big Fox.
Ferrari Auto Team!
The best campground?
Ask Google! The best bait shop? Ask Google!
The best Ram dealer?
Ask Google!
We did!
Google reviews from customers rank Ferrario Ram in Elmira the highest Ram dealer in our area. And remember what Don says.
If you don't see me, I can't save you any money.
Make this the summer event. Going on now.
Want to read about ancient wonders? Go to your local library today. But this isn't your father's library. It's the home of creativity. Release your inner audio engineer or face off a dragon in the D&D club. Make your clothing ideas come together with our sewing machine riddles. Create with the 3D printer or come to the library event nights to chat with those within your community. All with your library card. Go to getyourlibrarycard.com today.
In Albina, Buffalo, was born.
Nearly 500 kilos of cocaine has been seized in a bust.
Thousands lined the pier at Seneca Harbor. Race weekend brought thousands to Watkins Glen International.
Hundreds and horseheads joined other cities around the country on Saturday for the No Kings protest.
Day one of the National Glider Competition, severe flooding has caused major disruptions in parts of Steuben County.
Throughout the year, prison reform has become a priority around New York State.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. Let's go to some viewer comments. Hochul is just spewing vote-getting fantasy fluff that is in no way a presentation of reality. Almost everything she said was 180 degrees out of line with the truth. Thank you very much. Comment from a different viewer. Good morning, Frank. Well, good morning to you. I've recently had to catch up on Charlie Kirk's message. Although I'd heard bits and pieces over the years, I wasn't very familiar with him. He was very respectful to anyone he debated. He lost his life because the truth that he was sharing was totally unacceptable to many. I truly believe that his death has put many nails in the woke culture's coffin. His death is such a slap in the face of freedom, but our country will benefit from his sacrifice. Thank you very much. I see some other comments coming in. We'll get to those in just a moment. The New York Post editorial board said that Kathy Hochul's embrace of Mamdani's radical agenda is a spineless endorsement. Kathy Hochul just denied Israel's right to exist, legalized prostitution, voted to throw open the jails and defund the NYPD, and said New York should be a socialist city. She did that by endorsing Zohran Mamdani for mayor. The governor has backed all of this and more, embracing an anti-Semitic radical in a stunning act of political cowardice. She claims in a mealy-mouthed New York Times op-ed that she had frank conversations with Mamdani. And how did that discussion go? Did Mamdani suddenly realize that Israel has the right to defend itself from Hamas? Does he no longer libel the nation as an apartheid state? We've not seen that news. In fact, Mamdani doubled down this weekend that if Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu came to New York when he was mayor, he'd have him arrested in an extra-legal act of diplomatic sabotage. So Hochul discussed, Mamdani ignored, and Hochul endorsed him anyway. Same with quality of life. But what, pray tell, do you agree with? The only issue mentioned is affordability. But does Hochul then back Mamdani's proposal to cap all rent indefinitely, have city-run grocery stores rather than private ones, and raise taxes astronomically? Hochul stated common ground is broad and fanciful. She could have written me and Zoran both like puppies. So why, after months of criticism, is Kathy Hochul becoming a fellow traveler? Because she's terrified of the far left and worries what will happen in her poll numbers if Mamdani is elected. Hochul shames herself in the endorsement, writing, "Public life is an extraordinary privilege. It should never be about power for its own sake, but rather always about making the lives of others better." Yet that's exactly what she's doing here. In the past few months, she has claimed to disagree with Mamdani on almost every major issue, yet now decides to betray the people of New York for her own career. And you know what? It won't even work. Not only has Hochul failed to stand up for her supposed principles, but her late, lukewarm backing of Mamdani will do nothing to placate the Democrat Socialists of America who will eat her alive at the first opportunity. None of the discussions she had with Mamdani will change his stripes, and he will betray and embarrass her as mayor. Hochul could have stood up for what is right. She chose to be a jellyfish instead. Senator Chris Van Hollen, a Democrat in Maryland, endorsed Zoran Mamdani for mayor and called on his party's leadership to do the same, criticizing them for the delay. Specifically calling out Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer, others. In recent days, a series of Democrats across the ideological spectrum have argued that it is important for their leaders to forcefully reject Trump's apparent interest in tipping the race towards Governor Cuomo, former Governor Cuomo, a lifelong Democrat who's running in the mayoral race as an independent after losing in the primary to Mamdani. Anyway, so you get the idea. But don't buy any Zoran Mamdani apology for smearing the NYPD, because he said he would apologize. He'll say anything to get elected. Once he wins, it won't be a month before he's back to his cop-hating ways, even if he covers it with his trademark grin. At last week, the New York Times did its best to help him pull it off with softball questions on whether he was sorry for his past comments while the NYPD, and then said he would apologize. All right, we got to take a short break. I see quite a few comments coming in, a lot of waves. Get those last second waves in, and we'll be right back with Frankly Speaking after this.
Ferrari Auto Team! The best campground?
Ask Google. The best bait shop? Ask Google.
The best Ram dealer?
Ask Google.
We did.
Google reviews from customers rank Ferrari Ram in Elmira the highest Ram dealer in our area. And remember what Don says.
If you don't see me, I can't save you any money.
Make this the summer event. Going on now.
Want to read about ancient wonders? Go to your local library today. But this isn't your father's library. It's the home of creativity. Release your inner audio engineer or face off a dragon in the D&D club. Make your clothing ideas come together with our sewing machine rentals. Create with the 3D printer or come to the library event nights to chat with those within your community. All with your library card. Go to getyourlibrarycard.com today.
An albino buffalo was born.
Nearly 500 kilos of cocaine has been seized in a bust.
Thousands lined the pier at Seneca Harbor. Race weekend brought thousands to Watkins Glen International.
Hundreds and horseheads joined other cities around the country on Saturday for the No Kings protest.
Day one of the National Glider Competition, severe flooding has caused major disruptions in parts of Steuben County.
Throughout the year, prison reform has become a priority around New York State.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security and Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hasselstead studio. Let's go to some viewer comments. Pete writes in, from polls and what I have heard from Democrats since Charlie Kirk's assassination, confirms that they embrace terrorism. The First Amendment protection of free speech and assembly prevents us from formally labeling the Democrat Party as a domestic terrorist organization. They should be more respectful of the Bill of Rights, lest they become illegal as well as illegitimate. Rick writes in, good morning, Frank. I missed this last week. Trump had tent cities taken down at various locations in D.C. Sure does make the city look prettier, but the ugly is still there, even worse. Now there are still a lot of homeless people who are now tentless also. Where are they sleeping tonight? How about we work on getting these people back on their feet and reduce the reasons why they became homeless in the first place? Yeah, I know a lot of the homeless don't want help, but help the ones we can. And it never would have happened. Let me take a step back. Where does Trump get off saying that the war in Ukraine is Zelensky and Biden's war, and it never would have happened if he would have been president? Horse hockey. Lie, lie, lie. And my memory serves me well. I think Putin parked half his military on Ukraine's border, then just rolled in guns ablazing for no reason other than Putin thinks Ukraine belongs to him. Why do people put such faith in a chronic liar? Trump is still on his retaliatory leftist maniac tour. Hey, Donald, it's not about left and right. It's about maniacs and lunatics. You just rile people up with this. Have a sweet week to you all. And he said, P.S., and have a great trip to jolly old England, Donald. Pip, pip, and have a spot of tea for us. Thank you very much. I think that's all. Oh, Mark writes in, I can't wait till Elise Stefanik announces she will run, and I believe she will beat Hochul. I love her comments. She's doing a great job. I mean, she's essentially running without running. You see it with her comments. She is not officially declared, though we were told in November after the elections she will make an announcement. A comment from a different viewer. Governor Hochul is an out-of-touch leader and wants to destroy New York. She and her party are communists. Well, socialist. I mean, Zohran Mamdani definitely is, and she endorsed him yesterday. All right. Oh, by the way, Buttigieg, remember him? Pete Buttigieg, the former transportation secretary, who defended Biden's mental acuity for years. He was one of the very vocal people that would come out and defend his mental acuity. Now declares the ex-president should not have run again. Now that it doesn't matter anymore. He was on Meet the Press. He should have not run. And if he had made that decision sooner, we may have been better off. But it literally was his decision. Nobody else was able to make that decision. And now in front of us, we're confronted with the decisions that come next. And that's where we've got to focus. Okay. By the way, John Fetterman was on CNN's Inside Politics. He said, he was asked about Democrats and what they need to stop doing kind of under Trump. He said, I think we can't just be, well, Trump is always wrong, or that we're going to set the country on fire or whatever. That's just not true either, of course. But, you know, when I represent a state like Pennsylvania that keeps you honest, and you always can't forget that a lot of Americans happen to disagree with you, that does not mean that they are fascist or now they want to shred the Constitution. So Manu Raju, the host, said, when you hear some Democrats saying Trump is acting like an autocrat, he said, no, that's the thing. If you actually compare him to an actual autocrat, that is not just that. Now, last night, for example, people were complaining. They were protesting about, oh, that's Hitler. I think you just don't ever compare anyone to Hitler and those kinds of extreme things. Now, look what happened to Charlie Kirk. I mean, the man was shot. Now we have to turn the temperature down. It's like we can't compare people to these kind of figures in history. And this is not an autocrat. This is a product of a democratic election. Utah Governor Spencer Cox decried the cancer of social media and its direct role in every assassination over the past 5 years. There's no question in my mind, he said. Reporter Mark Halperin admitted to being naive about the left celebrating Charlie Kirk's assassination. For the first day, I refused to believe that anyone was actually going on social media to celebrate Charlie's murder. Then I realized there was in fact some of it, but I assumed it was a very small amount. Now I see how naive I was. What is wrong with someone who would do that? This isn't a political battle anymore. Mr. Kirk was right. It's a spiritual one, wrote one user. And Reasons put together the 5 idiotic responses on social media, like blaming Kirk himself for the violence. You have calling political violence a right-wing problem. You have people posting that. Ian Carroll blames Israel. The list goes on and on. But we are out of time. Thank you to everybody who joined us. Thank you to Catholic Charities of Steuben and Livingston for being on the program this morning. Final comment. Someone writes in, Fetterman is the only Democrat who has any sense of reality. Thank you very much. Have a great day, and we'll be back tomorrow morning with Frankly Speaking, only on WYDC TV. Big Fox, I look forward to it already.
Hi, this is Tom Witzel, owner of Hesselsen's in Elmira Heights. At Hesselsen's, we care about your well-being and overall health, whether it's relieving stress, muscle recovery, increasing circulation, or just revitalizing the body. Hesselsen's now has 2 complete line of infrared and traditional rock saunas in our new and expanded showroom. Come in today and see why owning a sauna is the start of your new healthy lifestyle. Hesselsen's is still locally and family owned and operated in Elmira Heights. After 70 years, it's still fun to poke in the corners at Hesselsen's.